Now let's take a look at political representation and who holds the power.
As of the 119th U.S. Congress, 2025, there are 66 black members serving in Congress. Out of those, 35 are black men, while 31 are black women. That includes 2 non-voting female delegates from Washington, D.C. and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So when we look at the actual leadership and political influence at the national level, black men hold the majority of congressional seats. The numbers show that black men are still leading in representation, both in the House of Representatives and the Senate. This isn't to downplay the contributions of black women.
Shirley Chisholm was the first African-American woman to serve in the United States Congress and the first woman of any race to seek the Democratic nomination for president.
They've made historic strides and continue to do incredible work. But the data makes it clear. Black men are not being outpaced in positions of federal power. When we talk about leadership, influence, and representation, whether in Congress, business, or education, black men are not absent, and they are certainly not being led by women across the board.
Black women have achieved symbolic milestones. Ketanji Brown Jackson, for an example, but men still occupy the majority of local offices, judicial seats, and political leadership across the board. So with all of that being said, have you ever wondered why the myth persists? Media framing highlights outspoken black women while downplaying black men's anchorship.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling, if someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body.
She's a bleach blonde, bad built butch body, and she better not talk about nobody.
That would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
I'm trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike those
words. I had no idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
And let me be clear, this is not a dig at black women. In fact, it's the opposite. This is about showing you that black men are working, building, and striving every day, not just for themselves, but for you and for the black community as a whole. Our success is tied to your success. When black men lead financially, politically, and socially, we are doing it so our families and communities thrive. That her being in, the 30th district up there in Dallas, I'm in Texas. So I'm definitely aware of some of her policies and what she's trying to push forward. I am for prison reform. Of course, y'all know that, right? Recidivism. That's my field. She is for that. But it's some other things that I disagree with what she does. Stephen A. Smith just had a critique. He didn't insult that woman. He didn't call her out her name. He just disagreed. So that's why I'm here. I'm not here to be like, man, was Stephen A. Smith, it's not about right or wrong. Was he right about what he said or what he's wrong? If he's wrong about what he said, it's the fact that he received so much backlash from the black community. And one thing I don't understand is, why does the black community think insulting a black man is going to get him on your side? Does that make any sense at all? You mad at what he said, so you're going to insult him, and he's going to be like, you know what? Since y'all called me out my name, you called me all kinds of weak and stuff like that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and work with you guys. Is that how that works? The most ironic thing is Stephen A. Smith voted for Kamala Harris. I mean, God, dog. If that's what he has to go through and he actually voted for Kamala Harris, a man that's supposedly on your side, and you guys insult him to make him, I guess, change his tune? Is that the point? The black community, sometimes we so backwards, man. If you wanted his, and if he's so insignificant, then why so many people trying to call him out? And why is the black community not comfortable with any type of criticism that goes against black women? I don't understand that. And then the whole narrative of black women are the most unprotected. Have y'all seen how black women talk about black men? Do you think that a black man would have been given grace if some black woman went crazy on him for, in Congress or some shit? if black women are the most disrespected, then they have to be also the most disrespectful when it comes to black men. But for some odd reason on these podcasts, and I'm specifically talking about the Native Land podcast with Angela Rye, Bakari Sellers, Tiffany Cross, and Andrew Gillum. You guys are so out of touch and so feminist leaning that you don't even see what's being said about black men on social media. I watch everything, both sides. I got into this space listening to black women first. I told you guys that multiple times. So when I hear you guys have these leaning talking points, black men are hurt, black men are in pain because black women are doing so well, where have y'all been? Do y'all watch any content? Do y'all see what black men have to go through? Lord have mercy. And I don't want to get too far into it. I'm going to stop right there. But I'm just saying, man, we got to do better. Are black men allowed to disagree? Jesus Christ.
But I felt compelled to come on the air a little bit earlier this week after what I've had to endure this weekend. What I had to endure this weekend were an abundance of people talking a whole lot of stuff about me because they did not like what I had to say about Representative Jasmine Crockett. She is a Democrat out of Texas, Texas's 30th congressional district. Her work, and her verbiage and all of that stuff speaks for itself. And she has become, a big time public figure in essence, not just as a representative, but speaking out on a plethora of issues involving the current administration and the White House, et cetera, et cetera. And I made some noise last week because I had the temerity, the unmitigated gall to say this about Representative Crockett when talking about the state of our politics in the midst of a government shutdown, by the way, that has unfolded since October 1st. Take a listen to what I had to say last week, please. You Jasmine Crockett or somebody like that. Ladies, I respect. Intelligent women, no doubt. But how a Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself, I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent the people of West Virginia. She's supposed to be there to represent the people of Texas. I don't know, maybe that just sounds ignorant because it's so simple. But it ain't that damn complicated. We make it complicated. Damn, it's frustrating. It really can be.
It is quite frustrating, because like he said, this is an educated woman, very, intelligent woman, gifted, gifted speaker with her knowledge, but damn, at some point, this shit got to stop, man.
All the nonsense that I've heard over the last few days is why it can get exhausting. Because nothing frustrates me more than when people have the truth at their disposal and they choose, maybe not lie, maybe not even embellish, but allow their emotions to usurp facts, and all of a sudden want to use that as an excuse to label me as being something and doing something I'm neither not nor have I done, which in this case is disrespecting Representative Crockett out of Texas, who, by the way, has had an invite to this show for weeks, by the way. Governors Josh Shapiro and Spencer Cox came on this show. Senator Lindsey Graham came on this show. Joe Manchin, now retired, came on this show. Bill O'Reilly, Bill Maher came on this show. Okay?
Go to Stephen A's page, man. This dude and that everybody on there. And they've had it out on the show as well with everybody. Bill O'Reilly, watched that one. That was a good interview. Yeah, it's been a lot. So to sit there and say that he just, targeted Representative Crockett, no, that's not what happened, man.
And more coming. And she has an invite. And AOC has an invite. Hakeem Jeffries, Democratic House Leader, he just was on this show. I've invited Jasmine Crockett. I have nothing but respect for her. I just disagree on what she's making headlines for because I think it's counterproductive to the ultimate goal.
There it is. He just disagreed. What are we missing here? My God.
But yet, here we are. And the word disrespect comes in. And people try to engage with words, like disrespect and implying misogyny. And
they said that he was misogynistic based off of what he said. Y'all heard what Stephen A said? How did that translate into hating women? How, man? What is going on here? Lord.
All of this other nonsense. Stop it. Stop it. Can we be grown-ups and deal with what the real issue is involving what I said? Willie D, Roland Martin.
Stephen A. Smith is going to read what Willie D had to say about this. Here we go.
Bakari Sellers and Angela Rye, who I have profound respect for. I mean, the list goes on and on with all of these people. I don't have their names in front of me to my producer that texted to me. I don't have my phone on me right now. So I apologize for not having those names in front of me. But I'm what are we talking about? How's it disrespectful to say what I said? Could you just disagree? Could we just say, yo, Stephen A., I disagree with you. Here's why. We got Willie D. Put up that quote, please. He's putting out quotes,
Listen.
Or text or tweets about me. Let's see that again. Stephen A. Smith taking shots at Jasmine Crockett ain't just messy, it's weak. Dude is sitting on one of the biggest mics in America, and instead of using it to uplift, he's tearing down a black woman who's out here putting in real work. That ain't critique, that's betrayal. Jasmine Crockett ain't the problem. She's the kind of woman who walks into rooms full of snakes and makes the snakes flinch. Meanwhile, Stephen's showing what happens when a paycheck gets louder than the principal. That's sucker shit, straight up, end quote. Wow, Willie.
That's absolutely nuts, man. And like I said, black men, we perpetuate this type of shit, man. It's like we can't say nothing. God, dog. Men's Help Channel, $10 super chat. What up, though? Said, don't agree with your criticism of the two brothers who didn't defend Stephen A. Both the law plus corporate back women no matter what, and you often get smacked down for speaking up while standing. Brother, I don't care. That's the shit that I'm talking. Put that up. That's what I'm talking about. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Men's Health Channel. That's what black men are afraid of. And we got to stop that shit, bro. You don't agree with me indicting them because they didn't speak up for Stephen A. Smith because of the fact that corporate black women, no matter what. You don't see it now. And you can send it in the super chat, brother. But this ain't a dialogue, okay? You can continue to send in super chats, but if you're talking about this, I don't agree because you fear what's going to happen to you, that's the type of shit I'm talking about, bro. And I'm assuming that you're a black man. I pray that you're a black man, because if you're not, you can get your ass up out of here. But if you are a black man, you need to understand that. That's the problem right there. Your comment. There it is. Lord have mercy. My God. What's wrong with? All right, man. Fair use. Let's get to it.
D, you sure are uplifting. I mean, I got to be touched. That was inspirational. Really, that really, really was. That was inspirational. I'm doing sucker shit. That's what you call inspirational? That's what you call uplifting? Really?
Fair
I haven't
use.
heard everything that Roland Martin said, D.L. Hughley had to say, and all the other names that I mentioned, but I'm sure it's along the same lines. None but respect. First of all, I'm gonna be very, very careful about anything that I say about Roland Martin because he's a friend.
See, and the dude is still being respectful of people. Lord.
I'm gonna be careful about anything that I say about D.L. Hughley because I have respect for that man. We've spoken a few months ago. I got nothing but love for him. I am concerned about him not making people laugh and smile as much anymore as he used to because he's more of an activist now than a comedian, but that's a choice and that's his right. And nothing but love for him and respect. And anybody else too. My issue with Bakari Sellers is how he talked about me without ever speaking out or reaching out because you don't like a position that I took before or whatever, but you want to come on and sell your book after. See, I don't play that nonsense. I don't like that. Disagree with what I said. Say why without all the other nonsense. Got nothing but respect. Willie D got over 1 million subscribers. Man, props to you. Doing your thing. Wishing you nothing but the best. Not getting into all that nonsense.
That's and again, as black men, we got to have a level of respect for each other as well. Why can't you just disagree like Stephen A said? Say why you disagree and move on. When you start using, insults and shaming language and shit like that, man, that's when people look at us as clowns. That's some clown shit, bro. Y'all supposed to be cool. My God, we can't even get on one accord within black men when we talking about stuff or when we disagree.
But let's deal with what I was saying, please. Can we do that? Can we be real? So let's take it. Let's take it back. Let's look at the resume of Jasmine Crockett, 30th Congressional District. By the way, the two senators that represent Texas is Senator John Cornyn and Ted Cruz, both Republicans. I'm so surprised. Okay? So you got them in Texas, and they're doing their thing, right? What are we talking about here in terms of Jasmine Crockett's district? 750,000 North Texans. Texas's 30th Congressional District, vibrant community in the heart of Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. That's the area she represents as a congressional representative. Earned her BA in Business Administration from Rhodes College and a JD from the University of Houston. She's licensed to practice law in Texas, Arkansas, and the federal courts.
Like I said, man, Representative Jasmine Crockett is very intelligent, very educated, very accomplished black woman. But I think all of the antics are beneath her in her position. That's all I'm saying.
So this is an accomplished, well-educated woman. Ain't nothing about her stupid. Ain't nothing about her something to dismiss or disrespect when it comes to her resume. Let's get that out of the way so as to make sure I'm not being disrespectful when we're talking about her, okay? What's her reputation? Crockett's performance in the House, according to research, and her success in delivering wins for her district is quote unquote mixed. She's active, ambitious, and visible, exceptional when it comes to fundraising. But many of her major efforts are still works in progress, bills stuck in committees, introduced but have stalled, etc., according to Congress.gov. I'm just reading. She faced similar difficulties as a state rep. The Texas legislature's sole black freshman had big plans for her first session. She ended up mostly playing defense, according to them. And what the implication was is that while she's great at fundraising, the challenge for her was cultivating relationships in Congress.
Why do you think that is? She can't cultivate relationships in Congress because why? Because of probably the way that she acts. It's so simple.
And what does that mean? Potentially going across the aisle when you don't want to. Potentially going across the aisle, okay, when it might be in the best interest of the 750,000 constituents you represent. We know you're a Democrat. We know how disgusting and vile you find the president to be. You've told us on more than one occasion. What I was saying was, where's that going to get you when you're so willing and so apt to verbalize it the way that you choose to verbalize it? How is that going to be productive to your constituents?
It's not, and I'm gonna leave it there because I want you guys to listen to the full interview. But Stephen A. goes on to explain a little bit more, and he didn't apologize, but he did address everything that he could. But in that situation, when you have to work with quote unquote enemies or people you don't agree with, especially if somebody holds certain powers that you can benefit from, such as the president of the United States, you have to play the game. Do y'all understand that?